1985 gave them immortality, but time gave them scars. Fame faded, secrets surfaced, lives changed forever. Stay with us and subscribe to uncover what really happened. 1985 gave them immortality on screen, but time rewrote their stories in ways no script ever could. Behind the laughter, behind the adventure, real lives unfolded, some inspiring, some heartbreaking, and some forever changed. When Back to the Future hit theaters, it didn't just redefine sci-fi, it created legends. A film about time travel became timeless itself, embedding its characters into pop culture forever. But while Marty McFly raced through decades in a DeLorean, the cast faced a journey no one could control: the passage of real time. Let's start with the face of it all: Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly. Then he was just 23, playing a 17-year-old dreamer, skateboarding through time with fearless energy. His performance turned him into a global sensation almost overnight. Personal life: Michael met actress Tracy Pollan on Family Ties, and their connection became something rare in Hollywood. They married in 1988 and built a family with 4 children, holding on to stability in an unstable industry. Unique twist: but at just 29, when his career was at its peak, everything shifted. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a secret he carried for years, fighting silently while still performing. Now at 64, Michael is no longer just a movie star. He's become a symbol of resilience, a leading advocate in medical research, and a man whose strength redefined his legacy. But the real story isn't his illness, it's how he refused to let it define the ending. And not everyone stayed in the spotlight. Claudia Wells as Jennifer Parker. Then only 18 during filming, she was one of the few actors actually matching her character's age. Jennifer was the calm presence beside Marty's chaos. Personal life: Claudia kept her personal world private. No public relationships, no Hollywood headlines, just distance from the noise. Unique twist: but her disappearance from the sequels wasn't career failure, it was sacrifice. She stepped away at the peak of opportunity to care for her mother, who was dying of cancer. A choice that cost her fame but revealed something far deeper. Now at 59, Claudia lives outside the spotlight, running her own business and occasionally reconnecting with fans who never forgot her. She didn't lose Hollywood, she chose something more important. And then there was the man who made time travel believable: Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown. Then 46 years old, transformed with wild white hair and electrifying energy, he became the unpredictable genius behind the entire story. Personal life: Christopher's life has been anything but simple. Married 5 times, his relationships reflect a journey as complex as the characters he played. Unique twist: off screen, he's the complete opposite of Doc: quiet, reserved, almost invisible in public life. Now at 87, he continues to act, appearing in films and shows, carrying the legacy of a character that refuses to fade. But behind that chaotic scientist was a man who always preferred silence over spotlight. But not every story carried quiet strength. Some were marked by loss that time couldn't heal. Wendy Jo Sperber as Linda McFly. Then she was 26, playing Marty's older sister with comedic timing that made every family scene feel real. Linda wasn't the hero, but she grounded the chaos. Personal life: Wendy married Richard Velasquez in 1983, and together they had 2 children. Her life seemed balanced, filled with both career and family. Unique twist: but behind that warmth, a battle was already beginning. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, a fight that would last 8 long years. Through treatments, through pain, she didn't just survive, she created. Wendy founded a cancer support center, helping others find strength in the darkest moments. Now she passed away in 2005 at just 47, but her legacy didn't end there. Her work continues to support countless families facing the same fight. She played a supporting role on screen but became a hero in real life. And then a story that didn't just change a career, it changed Hollywood itself. Crispin Glover as George McFly. Then only 20 during filming, he portrayed the awkward, nervous father with a transformation that became the emotional core of the film. Personal life: Crispin has always lived differently. Never married, private relationships, and a life far from mainstream Hollywood expectations. Unique twist: after the first film, everything took a turn. He refused to return for the sequels over creative and financial disputes. But what happened next shocked the industry. Producers used his likeness without permission. Crispin fought back and won. That lawsuit didn't just protect him, it created new rules safeguarding every actor's identity in Hollywood. Now at 61, he continues acting in unconventional roles, choosing art over fame, independence over conformity. He didn't follow the system, he forced it to change. And just when things felt grounded, another quiet story unfolds. Frances Lee McCain as Stella Baines. Then 41 during filming, she played Lorraine's strict yet realistic mother, anchoring the 1955 timeline with authority and presence. Personal life: Frances married actor Robert Lipton, building a steady life away from constant headlines. Their relationship remained private but strong. Unique twist: while others chased fame, she chose consistency. No scandals, no dramatic exits, just decades of steady work across television and film. Sometimes the absence of chaos is its own rare story. Now at 82, she remains a respected character actress, still contributing quietly to the industry she never needed to dominate. But the next face you couldn't ignore even if you tried. Thomas F. Wilson as Biff Tannen. Then 26 years old, he brought one of cinema's most unforgettable villains to life. Loud, aggressive, impossible to forget. Personal life: Tom married Caroline Wilson in 1985, the same year the film released. Together, they built a lasting marriage and raised 4 children. Unique twist, but fame came with repetition. Fans constantly asked him the same questions, the same lines, the same jokes over and over. Instead of frustration, he turned it into humor, creating a song just to answer them all. Now at 67, he continues performing as an actor, comedian, and artist, proving that even villains can evolve beyond their roles. But not every familiar face stayed in the spotlight, and one story might surprise you most. But some faces were only on screen for moments, yet their real stories stretched far beyond what anyone expected. Elsa Raven as the Clock Tower Lady. Then she was 56 when she delivered one of the film's most unforgettable moments, passionately urging Marty to save the clock tower. A brief role, yet impossible to forget. Personal life: Elsa kept her private life guarded. She never married, never chased headlines, choosing instead a quiet path through decades of acting. Unique twist: her career wasn't built on fame but consistency. From horror classics to blockbuster films, she appeared again and again, often unnoticed yet always essential. Now she passed away in 2020 at 91, leaving behind a legacy of small moments that became timeless memories. She wasn't the star of the story, but without her, something would feel missing. And then a man whose presence demanded attention. James Tolkien as Mr. Strickland. Then 53, during filming, he played the strict authority figure every student feared. His sharp voice and commanding presence made him unforgettable. Personal life: James married his wife in 1971, building one of the most stable relationships in Hollywood, far removed from chaos. Unique twist: despite portraying harsh, intimidating characters, those who knew him described the opposite. Kind, disciplined, deeply respected. Sometimes, the roles we play hide who we truly are. Now at 94, he stands as one of the oldest surviving members of the cast, a living connection to the film's legacy. And quietly, another journey unfolded behind the scenes. Lisa Freeman as Babs. Then 27 years old, playing one of Lorraine's friends, she had a small but memorable presence in the high school scenes. Personal life: Lisa chose privacy, never placing her personal relationships in the public eye. Unique twist: while many chased the spotlight, she walked away from it. Transitioning into writing and education, she built a completely different life. A reinvention few ever see coming. Now at 68, she continues as an author and educator, proving success doesn't always look like fame. But not every story gets to finish its journey. George DiCenzo as Sam Baines. Then 44, during filming, he played Lorraine's father, bringing tension and humor with every scene, especially that unforgettable shotgun moment. Personal life: George experienced multiple marriages, navigating both personal highs and challenges throughout his life. Unique twist: beyond acting, he was a respected voice actor and coach, shaping performances behind the scenes as much as on camera. But his story ended too soon. He passed away in 2010 at 70 due to complications from sepsis. Now his work lives on, even if his voice is no longer here. And just when you think you've seen every path, one more familiar face returns. Mark McClure as Dave McFly. Then 27, during filming, playing Marty's older brother despite being only a few years older in real life. Personal life: Mark married Carol Corson Cowie in 1985, the same year the film was released, building a quiet, steady family life. Unique twist: he holds a rare place in cinema history, appearing not only in this trilogy but also in another iconic franchise, bridging two worlds fans love. Now at 68, he remains connected to fans, attending events and keeping the spirit of those films alive. But the next story ties this film to a completely different legacy. But just when you think every story has been told, one final connection reminds us how deeply this film shaped Hollywood. Billy Zane as Match. Then just 18 years old, appearing briefly as one of Biff's gang members, his role was small but unforgettable. A single appearance that quietly launched something much bigger. Personal life: Billy's life unfolded under the spotlight. He married actress Lisa Collins, later entering high-profile relationships, and eventually became a father to 2 daughters. Unique twist: while many remember him only from this film, his career exploded years later, leading him into major roles across Hollywood, including one of the biggest blockbusters of all time. A background character who refused to stay in the background. Now at 60, he continues acting, his journey proving that even the smallest roles can lead to massive futures. And then the heart of it all, Lee Thompson as Lorraine Baines. Then 24, during filming, she delivered one of the most complex performances in the movie, playing both a shy mother in 1985 and a confident teenager in 1955. Personal life: Lee married director Howard Deutch in 1989, building a creative and lasting partnership. Together they raised 2 daughters, both of whom followed her into acting. Unique twist: unlike many stars of her era, she didn't fade, she evolved. Transitioning into directing while continuing to act, she reshaped her career on her own terms. Now at 65, she remains active in Hollywood, not just as a performer but as a storyteller behind the camera. She didn't just stay relevant, she reinvented herself. And finally, a moment that connected fiction to music history, Harry Waters Jr. as Marvin Berry. Then 44 years old, leading the band at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, delivering one of the film's most iconic scenes. Personal life, Harry kept his life largely private, choosing a path focused on music and performance rather than publicity. Unique twist, his character's famous phone call scene became one of cinema's greatest inside jokes, linking rock and roll history to fiction in a way fans still celebrate. Now at 85, he continues performing, a reminder that some moments never stop echoing. And one last dreamer, Donald Fullilove as Goldie Wilson. Then 27, playing the ambitious busboy who dreamed of becoming mayor, delivering a line that inspired generations. Personal life, Donald kept his personal world out of the spotlight, focusing instead on steady work in acting and voice roles. Unique twist, his character symbolized hope, determination and belief in a better future, something that resonated far beyond the screen. Now at 68, he still connects with fans, proving that even a single line can leave a lifelong impact. These weren't just actors, they were pieces of a story that defined an era. Some found lasting success, some faced unimaginable challenges, and some quietly disappeared from the spotlight altogether. But together, they created something timeless. So tell me, which journey surprised you the most? And if the story took you back in time, don't forget to subscribe, because some legends never fade, they just evolve. Time changed their faces, but their stories still echo through generations, reminding us how fame fades, yet moments live forever. Which journey stayed with you the most? Share your thoughts below, and subscribe to Legends Decoded for more stories where the past meets the present in unforgettable ways that truly matter today.